Good evening and welcome to Information Please, your Peoria Public Library on the air, bringing information about your library and your community. And this evening my guest is Alice Jackson, who's the Director of Programming at Peoria Public Library, and she's here to tell us about a program that's going on all during the month of August. Hey Alice.
Hi Tricia.
Well, we got this grant from the American Library Association, but it's funded by a private organization.
Yes. The Fetzer Institute has provided funding for different programs, things that focus on, just like the grant says, compassion, civility, things that bringing you back to the golden rule, I think, is one of the main principles of the grant and of the Fetzer Institute.
Right, and this whole program, as we can see here, is called Building Common Ground, and it's community discussions of civility and compassion, which is an interesting topic for Peoria during sort of a troubled time.
Yes, it is.
But so at the library, we're bringing these thoughts and thoughts of other people, but putting them in a form where people can talk about them, and for all ages, from very young to people who want to have in-depth discussions.
And all walks of life, not just
college professors.
Yes, exactly. A little bit of everybody. We want to open it up and make everyone feel comfortable to come in from throughout the whole community, throughout the whole city, to make sure that, because that is the bottom line of the grant, the compassion, the civility, to put it in just basic terms, just to get along. Get to know your neighbor, open up your doors, sit on your front porch, as somebody said, talk to the people around you.
Yeah. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yes, exactly.
Which we sometimes find suspicion and distrust that's greatly misplaced in our community, and that leads to further problems. But the library is a meeting ground for everybody in our community.
I mean, we're open to everyone. We're a free entity for the whole community, not just the city of Peoria. Other people around can use us, as we all know. And we're building on that and hoping that that'll engage people.
Yeah, which may be, especially now that our libraries are all redone and rebuilt and we have such lovely spaces, and so many people are taking advantage of that.
Yes.
And you see from the tiniest babies to very elderly people. I know at one of our grand openings we had somebody who was 102 years old.
Yes.
And quite mobile.
Yes. And then we had itty bitty babies. I mean, we had a little bit of everybody from throughout the whole area, so that was exciting to see.
And you see people every day in business suits, or people in you wonder if maybe they have a place to live.
Yeah.
Which a lot of them do. They just don't, maybe spend their money on clothing.
Right. You've got your shorts and t-shirts kids coming in, and you've got your three-piece business suit with their all their gadgets. So.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that came ahead of this and has been in the library a little bit, but will be there through the end of the summer, is our Peace Cranes display. And you want to talk about that a little bit?
Lori Payton from the Peoria Area Peace Network contacted us and said that they were having some kids throughout the area work on origami peace cranes, and origami cranes have been a symbol of peace, and so that's something that they've been working on. They've had all different kids from all around the area make all these cranes. We have just under 500 cranes, and if you haven't been to the main library to see it, stop in. It really is amazing. We had no idea what this would look like when it came together. They've used hula hoops, of all things, to display this with, and it's
made a beautiful mobile that comes down 2 stories
from the skywell.
And we don't have a picture of it because I tried to photograph it.
It's hard to photograph.
You can't photograph it.
You have to see it for yourself.
And there's the beautiful light from the skylight streaming in on it, and it's all different colors and even some patterns.
Yes, yeah. We weren't sure. We weren't sure if it was going to be all white paper, which is something that, symbol of peace with the white. But it's just beautiful. It really is. We were showing a couple people the other day, and they just, oh, wow, that's really neat.
Yeah.
So related to that, we have a couple people coming to do an origami kind of story time, craft type thing, and we're going to do it right there on the main floor underneath the cranes, and do some talk about what the Peoria Area Peace Network is doing with some of their programming. They have a program called Play for Peace, trying to get children to get along better. We hear a lot about bullying in the schools, and it's very sad. luckily didn't deal with that type of a thing when I was in school, or if I did, I didn't know about it. But that's something we hear a lot about, and so the Peoria Area Peace Network has started this program, and they're really working with different ages throughout the area, high school kids mentoring younger, and the younger mentoring each other. And they're, like I said, it's called the Play for Peace. So we've got a couple people from the Peace Network and hopefully the Peoria Origami Club coming to make some cranes with the kids and to read a couple stories about what that symbol means, and just kind of show them what it's all about. And then of course to kind of talk about the whole Play for Peace.
Yeah, and one of the stories they'll tell, of course, is the Japanese girl who died of leukemia after being in the Hiroshima bombing. And I understand there's a memorial to her, but she tried to make 1,000 cranes before she died.
1,000 paper cranes.
And didn't get that far, and her friends and family finished the project for her.
Yes.
And I think there's other groups and people who've done this through time, but it is impressive when you see,
it really
even
is.
though we don't have 1,000, I can't imagine what 1,000 would look like.
No, well that was one discussion that we all had. I wonder how many are there, and they believe there's just under 500, but it sure could be 1,000 looking at it.
Yeah, it could. There's so
many. It really
many
fills
of them,
up the space, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, so if people don't participate in anything else, it would be nice to take a minute to just stop and
we're hoping
contemplate those cranes.
Yes, and bring your children in that morning. It's Monday, August 6th at 10 o'clock at the main library, right there on the main floor, like I said. And even if you don't have a child to bring in for the program, at least come and listen. Take a look at the cranes there, listen to what they have to say. I think it'll be very neat. Very neat. I'm excited about that.
Will be. Well, let's get that. That's been kind of a precursor and to kind of get attention and goes in with the theme. But let's talk a little more about the main programs we have going on.
Well, two things that the grant really talks a lot about are a film and a book. The film is Forgiveness, A Time to Love and a Time to Hate, and then the book is 12 Steps to a Compassionate Life by Karen Armstrong. And so we have a couple different programs based around those. We have film viewing and discussion. We're taking the film and splitting it up into two. It's kind of a longer film.
It's longer film.
And so we'll have time for viewing and discussion on two different dates, August 6th in the evening, and then also then on August 13th in the evening, 2 consecutive Mondays. Those will be out at the North Branch in the McKinsey Room, so we've got lots of space there to spread out and enjoy this film and really delve into it and see what it's all about.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people don't understand the importance of forgiveness and what that can do for our community.
Yes.
And sometimes we have stories about that in our local media if somebody's been involved in a shooting or something. But if you go on to the websites for this project, there's even little video clips of different people talking about what forgiveness means. There's stories of people who've forgiven people for terrible things.
Helps your own healing in things. Yes, you may have been wronged. Yes, you may have been hurt by someone. But if you can't forgive that person or forgive that event, you're just going to carry that baggage around. And just that's what the film talks a lot about, is there is a time that you need to stop and think about that, and it's not healthy to hold on to that. So.
Yeah, you put yourself in prison.
Yes.
And do you remember any of the exact cases that are on that one? Isn't there some of genocide? And
yes.
People, it's not just in the United States, it's around the world.
No, it's all around the world. I'm not remembering specific ones, but it covers a little bit of everything. Things from losing your job to divorce to, like you said, genocide, a little bit of everything. It's not a light subject matter. But
is this appropriate for children and what age?
No, I would say this is definitely at the youngest a teen, high school age on up to adults, but not a children's program at all.
Yeah. And so do they need to be there both weeks?
It would help. It would help just for their own understanding. If not, if they could make it to one or the other, that's great. There are a couple links on PBS's website about the film. That's where it's produced through. So you can always check out those things if you can't make it to one or the other. And there are discussion guides and things like that we will be following with the viewing. So if you...
And are people able to check this out from the library if they miss it?
Yes, definitely. Yep. Yep.
or just can't make those discussions, they could still watch the film.
We'll have their
and
copies to be able to check out.
probably be able to use web resources to to have your own discussion with your family and friends, or with your group, whatever group that is.
Exactly.
Okay, and so the film viewing, you want to the dates and times
The
again?
dates for that again are August 6th, a Monday at 6 o'clock, and then August 13th at 6 o'clock, both at North Branch.
At North Branch, so easy to get there.
Yes. And we have, we've worked with a lot of different community members. We have Reverend Samuel Duran from the Zion Baptist Church, and he'll be helping us with at least one of those discussions. And if people are familiar with him, he's a very compassionate, very, I should say compassionate and passionate preacher. And so I think we're in for a very good discussion with him.
Oh, good.
I think that'll be great.
Yeah. And I just think sometimes people don't realize that there are people who've been through terrible things that have been able to forgive and go on. Every once in a while I see that story in the news about, you know, the mother that forgives the criminal for killing her child or something. It's just mind-boggling that people are able to do that.
How can you get past that? But like we said, if you don't, you're holding that in and you're just holding yourself back.
Yeah, and really. Well, let's talk about the book a little bit too, because we have some book discussions coming up. 12
Steps to a Compassionate Life by Karen Armstrong. It's funny, when we started getting the word out that this was one of the discussion points, a lot of people have heard Karen speak or have seen things or know about the book.
Well, she's won an award for her whole concept of sharing the golden rule, more or less.
Exactly. So we have a book discussion scheduled for August 12th. That's also at the North Branch, 2 o'clock for that one. And again, Reverend Duran and a couple others actually have offered to help out with the discussion with that. There's a lot of people that are working on this book with their book clubs. There's both church-related book clubs as well as just community groups that are working on this. So I think this will really, really be a good discussion. I didn't realize how many people had interest in this.
Interest in it and already talking about it. And we should point out that it's not based on religion.
No, it's not. No,
it's based on a philosophy and a way of life, not a religion.
No, and that religion does play a part in it. It's just the way the grant was written, the way the way the grant was proposed. There is some religious aspects to it, but in no way are we promoting one religion over another.
Right, right. And one of Karen Armstrong's things she's done was to write the Charter for Compassion.
Yes. The Charter for Compassion is something that they would like people to go on and basically live your life this way. Accept this as a way of life and think about how you're doing things and how you can do things better for yourself and for your community. That's kind of a bottom line on that. So if you go onto the Charter for Compassion website, there's a place that you can basically click to accept, to sign your name, and then of course they have a Facebook page and a website and everything else that they promote a lot of their programs, and they have a couple video clips on there to take a look at, and actually it does explain quite a bit about the whole program that led up to this. The
whole concept of it. And actually what she won the award for was her idea to have a Charter for Compassion that stretched beyond culture, beyond religion, and that anybody
and
could
to just get rid of those lines and to forget the boundary lines and no prejudices and just stop and think about the basic, golden rule. As we said, again, it all comes back to that. Just stop and think about, this is another person, this is a human being. And
do you want to read us a line or two?
Yeah, I can. It starts out, the Charter for Compassion, the best idea humanity has ever had. Charter for Compassion is a document that transcends religious, ideological, and national differences. Supported by leading thinkers from many traditions, the Charter activates the golden rule around the world. The principle of compassion lies at the heart of all religious, ethical, and spiritual traditions, calling us always to treat all others as we wish to be treated ourselves. So
very simple,
It is.
And it goes on and talks about, ideals you should instill in your children and
Yes.
ways to raise compassionate children.
And yeah, and not just your own family, but your neighborhoods and your community.
Yeah.
That's a huge portion of the charter, as well as the Building Common Ground grant, is to reaching out to your community and just being a friend to people, and to
Right.
stop worrying about all
To
the
look
others.
at what makes us the same rather than what makes us different.
different.
And I think probably this is a good thing to remember with the political season coming up, where some of us are already feeling assaulted by the
Yeah, it's
the
not
constant.
easy. It's
No,
not easy. We know
it's
that. I
not.
mean, we see it every day. We see it in our home life. We see it in our neighborhoods. We see it in our work life. But sometimes we just need to stop and take a breather and think
say,
about it.
What are we all working for? The same basic common things in life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And are there more programs coming with this?
We also have a Compassionate Peoria discussion, something that's more specific to Peoria. That'll be towards the end of August, and that really does play on and work around the Charter for Compassion. So we've got a couple people lined up to talk about that and to really engage the community into the discussion and think about the Charter.
And that's the point where after you've seen the movie and you've read the
the
book,
book.
then we look at how can we take action here in Peoria.
Exactly.
And of course, again, why is the library doing this? Well, we're the community center. We're the place where we have the resources, the meeting spaces. We are the place that most people feel pretty comfortable.
Yes,
to
everybody's
be in.
welcome.
Yeah.
Everybody's welcome. All
Everybody's
walks of life.
welcome there. And this is also comes at a good time because, of course, Peoria's had many problems with crime. Some of that's because of the economy.
Yes.
And there's been so many break-ins, but so much gun violence as well. And there's initiatives that are starting up in the community, and this is a good way to lay the groundwork for some of the initiatives that will be coming later in the month and later this fall, I think.
Yes. There will be a Peoria Reads special project, which will be dealing with a book that will then lead into some of the events throughout the community later on into the fall.
Right.
We hope to kind of tie some of our projects in, and or at least link back to or talk about, refer to the Don't Shoot Peoria Reads project, as well as with the Building Common Ground and the Compassion and Civility. Because then in the middle of all of this, there is the Night Out Against Crime, which is something that fits right in with all of this.
Yeah, August 7th, Night Against Crime, is going to be a launching point for more initiatives.
Yes.
But if we can think about compassion and forgiveness and everybody set things aside and remember this is our city, this is our town, we all want to live and work here, and we want everyone to prosper, is a lot of what's behind both this project and the projects that are coming up.
Yes,
this
definitely.
fall. But
Definitely.
with
It's
looking for less violence.
And one person said it to me, used to be, they built houses and they build them with huge front porches, and that's where you sat. You sat out on the front porch, you knew all your neighbors, you talked to everybody, and everything was wonderful.
Yeah.
And now you have a small front porch, you have a huge backyard, you go sit on your deck with your privacy fence and you don't see anybody. And you come home after work, you shut your garage door and you're in for the night. And we can't go out and all build front porches, of course, but it'd be nice if we could get back to some of that. I know I'm guilty of it too. We don't know all of our neighbors. I mean, we know some, and we can tell when a car comes down the street if that's actually somebody that lives in the area, but we need to stop and think about, starting that small, just your own neighborhood, and then working out to the bigger community and to the area.
Right, and that often is a problem in a neighborhood. You have one person who doesn't do things the way everyone else does, or has different hours that disturb other people, and you have to get back to what's the best thing for everyone who lives here. So, and you're right, and it can even start as small as your family.
Yeah.
With kids in a family squabbling, and how do you stop that?
That's your sister. You need to stop and think about that. That's the most important. Yeah.
I always told my kids, just remember, when everybody else goes home, that's who you're stuck with.
I've been saying a lot of that this summer too.
Yeah, well, that's worked out well for me.
Yeah.
My girls are are good friends
Yeah.
now as adults. So
Yeah.
it does work. It does work when you take these small ideas and you're repetitive and you enforce them and you think about them. It's the same thing with cooperative play. There are many places that do competitive games. You can always get competitive games at school or you know, park district or whatever, with people competing and winning prizes, and you know, we're going into the Olympics, and yes, that's great for outreach, but you know, nobody's working together. So it's nice when we have something that shows cooperation.
It's just for fun, and it's
it's just for fun, and it's cooperation, and it's you know, everybody is worth something, even if they can't hit the baseball that well.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And we've been great doing that. So let's talk again, just review the events again.
Okay. We have, well, the Night Out Against Crime is right towards the beginning of that. But first, we've got our Peace Crane talk and discussion and craft, which will be the 6th at the main library. And we have the viewing and discussion of Forgiveness, the film, out at the North Branch on that same day, the 6th. We have then follows right in line with that. We have Night Out Against Crime. So get out into your neighborhoods, get out into your community, find out what's going on with your neighborhood association. Get out there and talk to your neighbors, basically. Then after that is our book discussion for 12 Steps to a Compassionate Life, again at the North Branch on August 12th at 2. Then the second portion of the Forgiveness film on August 13th at North at 6 p.m. And then the Compassionate Peoria discussion at the main library towards the end of the month. We're aiming for August 18th in the afternoon there at the main library.
Okay, that'll be great.
Yeah, yeah.
And so do we have any, we have a lot of story times still going on that maybe not related to this. I mean, the Peace Crane story time's a little bit different because it's for all ages and it's out. But as that's one of the things I think too that helps bring our community together is when everybody comes to these library programs, no matter what they are. Some of them are very special interests, excuse me, but some of them are very broad, just like bringing children of different ages to different story times. And as we go into school, it's also a great way to get kids ready for school.
It is.
So
we have summer reading wrapping up now, and so then August is a funny month for the libraries. We have we've kind of winding down from summer reading, so some of our librarians maybe want to take a little breather a little bit, but definitely once school starts back up again, end of August and September, we're back into the full swing of all of our story times for all different ages. We still
have a lot.
We do have quite a few in August. We've got a couple different, or lots of different age groups that we aim towards to cover, and different
we have
specialties.
Some pajama story times too that are for the whole family.
For the whole family in the evening. I know that's sometimes a hard thing to get during the day, to get in and bring your kids in during the day, but we've got those evening ones. We've got some Saturday things coming up, and like I said, the summer reading party will be at the beginning of August, so if you participate in summer reading, hopefully we can see everybody out at the zoo that day. We're excited about that. But we really do, like we talked about earlier, the library is open to everybody. It's a public library. Even if you don't live in the city of Peoria, you can still bring your family, your children in for programs that are open to all ages. So we hope people take advantage of that.
Yeah, exactly. But District 150 kids in the private schools in Peoria, one of the great things we have is Brain Fuse, which is homework help. And as you know, you hate to think, oh no, school's starting already, but it is.
It is.
You know, the school uniforms and the supply lists are out there in the stores,
yes,
and
they are.
Layaway is available, and so as people think about that, one of the things they need to think about too is making sure they have a library card.
Yes, so. We really push library card sign up at the beginning of the school year so that those kids can have that important resource and get back in on the right track.
Yeah, be ready to go.
Yes.
And I think we have some exciting things for adults coming up this fall too. We have everything from music to armchair travel discussions.
Yes.
Does that start in August? Do you have armchair travel in August? And that's to Ireland, I think.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, we're excited about that. Working with our Friends of Clonmel group, and they've done their Intercontinental Skype Book Club, and so we're going to work with that same group on doing some armchair travel. Pretty excited about that, yeah.
And that's another good example of, you know, discussing compassion and civility and friendship as our Sister City program. And the library's been a part of that for a while. We've done everything from displays to hosted groups traveling from other countries on tours, and now Skyping between people in Ireland
and Peoria.
And Peoria, and what a great way to build understanding. And sure, Ireland isn't classically one of our enemies,
no,
but still, it's a different country.
It's
a small bite to understanding what you know, what else is going on. What do people think about things around the world?
It's been interesting to see the folks over there and their take on a book versus, because it's all based on a book discussion, and their take on a book versus the group here and their take on it. So it's everybody's got a different opinion of things, but the discussions are very interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting.
And that's the whole Sister City concept. We have sister cities in several different places, but that group is one that's taken good advantage of library resources. And so we have another thing that I think promotes discussion is our art displays.
Yes.
And I know that we will be having art displays in coming up this fall.
Yes.
We have Cascades of Color from the Illinois Art League.
Yes, we've got the Illinois Art League. We've got a display coming up, a one-woman show, and then we
have the veterans, which that's something people should be aware, that we're looking for artwork by veterans, and veterans who are creating right now can bring things in, or if you have someone who passed away, you can do that.
That display will be up during the month of November, and then during the month of December, if anyone would like to bring in some of their holiday related artwork or collectibles or things like that. I know it is December, and a lot of people will have their things out then, but we have display cases and a whole gallery down there on the lower level one at Main Library that we'd love to fill up and show off some holiday collections.
Well, thanks for being with us today.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you'll want to make sure and find out about all these events on our website, peoriapubliclibrary.org, or you can call, drop in, pick up our newsletter, whatever method you like to find out what's going on at the library. We'd love to have you for these for Common Ground discussions of civility and compassion, or any of our other programs here at Peoria Public Library. See you next week.